welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we were at Brennan Theaters watching Mission Impossible Fallout. This is a movie I was very excited about. This is a series that I've always enjoyed. A lot of these movies get a little cheesy at times, but at the same time, they're still a guessing game. Like, you're enjoying the twists and the turns and just kind of strapping yourself in for the ride, and this is definitely no different. It's a lot of twists and turns. It's a lot of you trying to figure out who's what they say they are, who's not what they say they are. A perfect spy movie. And at the same time, this had some of the best action shots I think I've seen in a very, very long time. I honestly can't remember a movie in the recent years that had some of the most elaborate, huge level shots that this movie had. There's a helicopter sequence, you see a little bit of it in the trailer, that was just insane. It's just crazy. The vistas they use, the landscapes, it's just absolutely beautiful.
Over the last couple of decades, Mission Impossible has made some very, very influential action films that have kind of changed the way that people look at action films. You take someone who's not necessarily your typical looking action star and turn him into this unbeatable force, which is just something really interesting to watch. Especially considering in a lot of these films, Tom Cruise does a lot of his own stunts. At this point, he's just attempting to one-up himself every time he steps in front of the camera for these movies. And I am in for the ride every single time. This movie keeps you at the edge of your seat constantly, trying to guess what's happening next, trying to figure out who's doing what, who's really the bad guy, who's really doing this. It's something that makes you want to sit down and watch and really pay attention to every last little detail. I would say for me, the one flaw of this movie is that if you do sit there and pick apart every last detail for the movie, there are a couple things that don't hold up necessarily as well as they could if they'd been told a little bit differently or potentially presented in a way that was a little more novel. But that being said, the rest of the movie for me is just positive.
Everybody's coming for the story, right? It's a Mission Impossible movie. Did it deliver that spy thriller that you're looking for? I believe it did. There were a couple things I guessed, because there are a couple things that I thought were a little cliche, but that's okay because they were also surrounded by a bunch of things that weren't cliche. So there were a lot of moments where you're like, oh, crap, that actually just happened, and that keeps happening throughout the movie. And if you've had experience with the past Mission Impossible movies, that's what you're looking forward to. You're looking forward to those moments where you were tricked just like whoever was being tricked in the movie. I love those moments, and this is just full of them.
The acting performances were very, very up to par with the previous movies, and I would say in some ways even better. For me, the big performance was Ving Rhames. Ving Rhames had a few scenes where he really kind of got your emotions going. And that's not something typical of this character. This character is kind of, meant to be another foil for the team, another person who's different than Ethan.
Obviously, in my opinion, the highlight of this movie is Simon Pegg. Every single time he's on screen, he is hilarious. He's charismatic, he is funny, he just really adds a lot to this film. As he did in the past film. Ving Rhames does an amazing job as well. He plays the same old character, just kind of making side remarks about what's going on and just kind of making you chuckle. They're definitely the comic relief. Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. So you've seen him in the past movies, you've seen him in other movies. He is a strange person and a really good actor. So you're going to get that same performance from him that you expect to. He pretty much is Ethan Hunt at this point. He's played the character so many times, it's kind of blended together with what is Tom Cruise and what is Ethan Hunt. So it's not surprising that you just kind of fall right into his character again. You're so used to it that it's just more of the same. So not like anything new in this film that was amazingly acted by him, but he is definitely the character that you came to see. So the character Elsa in the movie, of course one of the love interests, is also very well done. She has a mysterious aspect to her, especially for the first half of the film before it explains what's going on. And I definitely enjoyed her part in the film as well. This is an ensemble piece at its core. It is a group of characters all coming together to make a whole. I think this has more in common with the movie like Ocean's 11 than it would like The Equalizer, where you're focusing on one person. This is definitely an ensemble piece, and each piece of the puzzle and each character is just as important. Alec Baldwin is in it, Angela Bassett is in it. They're all just fantastic. They all do a good job in the roles they're given.
And the rest of the cast, rounds out like great performances. It's a situation where you know what Tom Cruise is bringing to the table, so you expect to see the type of character that he plays. He doesn't put anything different into it than he's put into any of his other performances as this character, except for just continuing to up the ante as far as his stunts are concerned. Every time he's on screen, like I said, you're on the edge of your seat wondering what's going to happen next. There are scenes where you see him physically being hurt by the things that he's doing, but he still gets up and he still makes it so watchable and so believable. And it's incredible to see, especially considering he's getting up there as far as age is concerned, but he doesn't look like he's aged a day.
Let's talk about the one that everybody's curious about. Did Superman play the role well? It's very hard for me to separate him as an actor and his character being Superman in the past few movies. It's hard to not see him as Superman, even with the mustache and the beard, and they're trying to cover it up. But I will say he did a really good job. He's very imposing. You, just like the rest of the characters, you don't know what he's thinking, you don't know what he's planning. Pretty much everybody, you spend the entire movie trying to figure out what their motivations are, and he is no exception.
The visual and practical effects are absolutely stunning. So many of these things, I mean, the things that they look like they're completely real, and I know a lot of the stunt work is done, as real as possible and with as many practical effects as possible, and that shows on screen. You don't see a lot of things that look like they're over-the-top CG or that they've been, created on a computer somewhere, and that's something that's refreshing to see when a lot of movies are going heavy into that CG territory, because if it is real, it's going to look real, and that's very important.
Overall, this movie was a lot of fun. I was on the edge of my seat. I wanted to see what was going to happen. I wanted to see what was going to be revealed. I would say this is the strongest Mission Impossible movie they've made so far. And that's saying a lot because I really enjoyed Ghost Protocol. That was a really good movie, but this has just enough twists and turns and just enough callbacks to really make it something special. And the action is turned up to 11. Like I said earlier, some of these shots are insane. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. By no means is it perfect. It has little things here or there, but you know what? This is an amazing movie. If you are a fan of the Mission Impossible series, you owe it to yourself to see this on a big screen with a great sound system. Hit up the theaters. See it with a group of people. You will definitely not regret it.
So this one is going to be unanimous across the board. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 9 out of 10. It was an excellent film. I want to see it again before it leaves theaters. I want to try to see it, in the JBX theater that they have at Brendan, the big screen with the loudspeakers. I want to see it in that, just to get a little bit of a different perspective and see some of those beautiful shots in a little bit of a different light.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.